And today is the premiere. Oh wait, let me turn this light on. Look, I'm the tech team too, so hold on. How do I like that? Before I bring on my guest, let me just change this filter. I'm so excited. This one is kind of cool. I wonder if it's gonna stay when my guest comes. I got a new hairstyle. Okay, so 1 second, y'all. I'm so excited, but this is also my first time hosting my own like online thing, so I'm just learning as I feel so good today. Like, I did my hair and I just been preparing for this like energetically. So while I'm waiting for my guest, let me get some tech together. Hold on, y'all. Hey, I see you, Tyree. Okay, my guest is here. Request to join the live so we can start. I'm so excited. We gonna have to do some like grounding breaths because I know my energy is like way out there. Okay, here's my guest. Do I know if this thing is on?
Hey.
How you doing?
Oh, shoot. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
It was real low for a second. I ain't know my volume was so low.
Well, I kind of talk low anyway, but I got a mic and I don't even know if it's on. I didn't do like tech check before, but this is, a learning experience.
Well, shoot. Thank you for having me. Shoot. I'm honored.
Would you like to introduce yourself and who you are? Because I know a little bit about you, but I know people watching
Yeah,
probably don't.
yeah. Yeah, so I'm Emperá Epheru. I am a light language music maker. Well, I'm an artist, but I infuse light language with my music, and I also just make good music. I put a lot of different genres in with it. I create my own instrumentals. I work with my own guitar, so and I channel, so
So
I can kind of channel through my music too. Now
that's dope.
I do.
Right.
I channel through my music.
So for people who don't know what light language is, how would you describe it?
I would describe it as the language of the soul. You know what I'm saying? That's something that my mentor would say. She would say that it is. That's because I always found it as the best way to describe a divine language. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Because it's unique. It's unique to everyone that can speak the language. They have a particular way that it sounds because it's part of their soul signature.
Mm-hmm.
If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I can kind of mimic it a little bit. Like I don't know if anybody else can do that, but I thought that was interesting. But I'm kind of going off topic.
No,
Uh,
that's cool.
it's something that you have to be open heart. You have to have an open heart with. I feel
Yeah.
like, or you just have to get to a point where you're open enough to receive it, and it'll unlock. You know what I'm saying? Some of us are born with it.
Right.
Some of us has to get activated. You know what I mean? So.
Speaking of activated, word on the street is you are an activator.
Yep.
How has that been for you? Like, what has that journey been like? When did you even realize that you're an activator?
Well, I realized that I was an activator when I started working with other people and just, experimenting with the light language even more. I found that it affected people. And not only that, people would tell me like, hey, this did that to me, this did this to me, it I felt a certain tingling in this chakra. I felt a tingling in that chakra, or my
Oh,
third eye. But mostly, I would get that it activated the sacral and whatnot. But
okay.
what really happened was, a few people actually inboxed me and told me that I activated the light language.
Wow.
So I thought that was very interesting. Excuse me, mouth very dry. But yeah, I activated the light language, and yeah, that's been a very interesting thing for me because I didn't know that I could do such a thing. I didn't know I was an activator, and I
Yeah.
found that not only do I activate through the light language, but I also activate through, just humming, just
Mm-hmm.
some of us are to the point where we can activate others just by being by them,
Right.
standing near them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just me making beats, everything that I touch, it has
Mm-hmm.
a potential to activate.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying. So.
Yeah. I feel that actually resonates a lot with my story because I was born with psychic abilities that I wasn't aware of. And
Hmm.
I kind of heard a little bit in my family, like people had gifts, but it really wasn't something that anybody really talked about often.
Right.
So I just thought that I was really sensitive. And for the longest, I thought I was just on a spectrum or something because everything was intense for me. Like my experience was just intense. But a lot of people would tell me like being in my presence, they feel safe or they feel peace. And like internally, I would be feeling a lot. Like I would be feeling energy. So for people to tell me that they feel just good in my energy, I got good energy, I would be like, that's
Yeah.
interesting because I actually have a lot in my mind or I have
Right. But what
a
does
lot that I'm
that
feeling in my body. Like,
Yeah.
okay, but that's cool.
Yeah, I I definitely experienced that too, but a lot of the times it'll be like, well, what does that mean? I would
Yeah,
want to ask that, but more than likely they wouldn't have an answer because it's just like it's just your vibe. It's just I'm like, okay,
right.
okay. Well, why is that? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
But that's very interesting. You said that, so you're very empathic.
Yes. I'm also clairvoyant, which I learned within the last couple years.
Wow.
And I'm a dreamer. I do a lot of astral traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I go to like different planets or dimensions and I
Mm-hmm.
anchor in light codes here. But this is all actually very new for me to have the language to describe these experiences. Because I would say within the last couple years, I've interacted with people who have been on the journey or like have done plant medicine or something where they understand what's going on energetically with them.
Yeah.
But back to what you were saying about people not having the words, I think that's so interesting because it's like now I feel like since there's more awareness, people have the vocabulary, but like that was something that I felt like created some like disconnect with me and other people because they didn't have the words, I didn't have the words. Like, how do you now when you talk about it, how do you feel like you bridge that gap if there was one in your experience as well?
What elaborate the question for me, like.
Like, do you feel like now you have the words to bridge the gap in communication, or do you still feel like sometimes it's kind of hard to describe things to people or to understand what they're talking about?
Okay. Now what I try, yeah, I do have the words. I definitely have a lot of words, and sometimes they don't always come to mind when I need them to. But
Oh yeah, that's true.
however, it's like it's gotten to the point where now I have to dumb it down, and I'm trying to learn how to get used to breaking this down where people can understand it and they don't read this type of information or knowledge or
Mm,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah, I
So
really do.
so just make it more simpler. Like hey, what do you do? I have powers.
No, for
I got
real.
spiritual abilities.
Like I'm one of
Spiritual
them
abilities.
ones.
Yeah. I'm one of them ones that can uplift your soul. And
That's dope.
it's kind of self-explanatory when they think about it. It's like, oh, so you kind of like a preacher. Some
Hmm.
kind of. It's kind of like that,
Right.
for the real ones, the ones who really do have the power to do what they do, because there are some that hold power in the church. I definitely see
Mm.
that because I took the time to learn some hoodoo, did my history.
Oh
So,
yeah, I think you posted something about that. I'm not familiar with hoodoo, so put me on.
oh yeah, well, so hoodoo is it's a spiritual system that we tapped into during slavery, and
Okay.
it's a plethora of all of different cultures that came under the same slavery, and just they came together and they wanted to hold their religion still, not the religion but
Oh,
their spiritual prowess, their
yeah.
where they come from and their culture.
That
So what they
connection.
did was when they tried to I don't know why the word beat coming to mind, but that's exactly what happened when they tried to beat us out of our culture, our original culture.
Okay.
They was teaching us Christianity.
Hmm.
So while they were teaching us Christianity, we were trying to not trying, we were coming up with ways to transmute that information and turn it into something that they can use to benefit them in a spiritual way, where they were still connected to their ancestors.
Okay.
So for an example, oof, I just challenged myself when I said for an example. But it's like this.
You can also make up one too, or think of one that you use to like integrate the. I want to say like the wisdom into something that anybody could use, because I feel like that's what you're talking about, like the way that our ancestors may have found ways to integrate that wisdom into something that's digestible for
Mhm,
people, which I
mhm.
feel like you do through music is a good example.
Yes. Um, I'm sorry. Can you ask the question one more time? Because I kind of, it was kind of, I kind of got like bits and pieces of it.
No, that's okay, because you were describing hoodoo and the
Uh-huh.
history, and you were talking about how they. Well, this is what I got from what you were saying, like how maybe the answers may have infused something. You were going to give an example, but you was like, "Damn, I'm probably challenging
Yeah,
myself with that."
because because I'm still new to it. I'm still
Yeah,
fresh,
we all
still a newbie to
learning. That's something that I really want to highlight. Like we're all learning, and if you feel like you're at a point where you're not learning, then
it. Hmm.
maybe you want to challenge yourself on that, because like people have always come to me. Hold on, I don't know if you can hear that, but
Yeah,
they blowing outside.
yeah, but I can still hear you, so it's all good.
Okay, cool. So like if you get to a point where you feel like, oh, I know everything,
Hmm.
then maybe you should get back into the student role, because
Yeah.
like for me, people have always come to me for advice since I was very young. So I just have always had this like fire inside of me to keep learning
Hmm.
and to keep seeking and to keep creating. And I've noticed that's really one of my strong suits, because I've
Yeah.
interacted with some people who like call themselves thought leaders and stuff,
Hmm.
or they just present themselves as if they're in a certain level of mastery, when it's like, okay, yeah, that's cool, but are you also letting it be known that you're still
Yeah.
learning? Like
Yeah.
that's really a part of the journey, to still be learning. So
Definitely.
I think that's beautiful that you still learn. It's like nothing at all to be ashamed of, because
Right.
when you start talking about this stuff, that's how you know like how much you really grasp. Because
Right.
I noticed that when I was younger too, like I'll come home from school, my mom's like, "So what did you learn today?" And then I'll start describing it, and then I'll get stuck, and I'll
Yeah.
be like, dang, what did the teacher say? Like now I'm trying to think of something that I memorized, versus if you
Yeah.
really learned it,
Yeah.
then you can explain it in your own words, which is a different story.
Right.
But that takes
That's
time.
that's when you turn the information into wisdom, like something that you actually know. You know what I'm saying? You can talk about it
Exactly.
and put it in your own words.
Hmm.
Right. Yeah. I definitely feel that because you never want to put yourself in a position where you feel like you know it all, because
Yeah.
then you can't, you just put a block or cap on yourself where you
Mm.
can't learn no more. And when somebody tries to teach you something new or try to correct you on something, you nah because I read such and such and this and I know that it's a fact because this happened.
Yeah. Well,
So you're not open to new information. You're not learning how to. You don't want to learn. The
yeah.
wise person, it's better to be wise than to be the smartest person in the room, because a wise person can listen to the person that may not appear to be smart at all,
Hmm.
but can still pull some type of knowledge out of that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, so, but dang, I did want to answer that question. I'm not gonna lie to you. I smoked a little bit before
No,
we
that's
started.
cool.
You can see it in my eyes. I was trying not to
I
get,
tell. I'm not gonna count. I can't tell. I used to smoke too,
you know
so I know
what
how
I'm
that is.
saying.
You
But
you have a thought train and then it just
it'll
disappears.
just go away. But see, that also means you channeling too, because like I would like to instant and invite my ancestors whenever I do a live. I like to do that
Mm-hmm.
because they like to say something, and that's what I mean when I channel through my music. A lot of the times when I'm writing music, they're writing music.
That's
So, or
yeah.
when I'm recording and I'm punching in, we like to call it.
Mhm.
They're the ones that's rapping. Or they're the ones that's singing. I remember my first time punching in, I was told that I channeled Tupac.
Wow. I
So,
can't.
and
Oh.
yes, he came through. He also wanted me to come through, make that video that I made another time. It was when I was working with, I don't know if I'm supposed to tell this story.
You can just tap
oh,
in real quick and ask them. No rush.
oh man, can I tell the story? I'm not getting no. I'm not that clairvoyant, but I get the feeling, and I don't get no negative feeling right now.
Okay.
So basically, I remember Allie hit me up one day, and she was
Oh,
just like, "Hey,
yeah, Ellie.
um, I've been listening to Tupac all day," and she was just telling me what songs she was listening to. We was vibing, right?
Yeah.
And then one time, and then while we was vibing, he came through. So
Wow.
he came
Wait, he
through
came through you or Allie?
through Allie.
Okay.
'Cause
Okay.
I channel, but I don't really channel like that. It's more of a like,
Yeah.
uh, that is okay. When we talk about explaining how we do things, that is a little bit hard to describe because it's channeling, but I don't. It's like conjure or mount. I don't want to say it's mounting either because I still have control.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But back to what before we get off topic. Um, he came through and was like, "Look, I want y'all to do a video for me." Because we were doing a bunch of videos for
Oh,
all the
okay.
different kinds of artists, and I did a couple for Tupac.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we were singing their music in light language. So
Oh,
while they were in the back, remember that?
yes.
So while they were in the background um, singing their song and rapping their song, we were
What?
singing it in light language, and we were actually transmuting the energy. So
Okay.
at the time, to break that down, at the time when they were making that music, it was kind of some dark times,
Yeah.
the 90s
Yeah.
and further back. That's how we was doing. That's how we wanted to do it, and maybe a little bit somewhere in the 2000s. I started to pick it up a little bit, in current age a little bit.
Right.
So where was I at? Where was I?
Yeah, I was channeling light language.
No, but music channeling light language. Oh, see, it just goes just like that. I don't like that.
It's
but
funny though because low key, I feel like that be like source trying to see if we can go with the flow. Cause I used to be
hmm
like that too. Like I used to
hmm
be so like,
yeah,
oh man, but
yeah,
like, uh,
yeah. But it was really trying to break. Okay, we was transmuting the music. We was transmuting the energy because the
oh yeah,
energy was
that.
negative, and we were transmuting it into positive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he came through and was like, "Yo, I want you to do a couple of songs in light language, but I don't want you to do it just in light language. Mix it with English words too." So I
Oh,
said,
okay.
"Oh, okay, that's different. That means I
Yeah.
gotta do a song that I really know."
Uh-huh.
And I didn't want to do just any old song because the songs that I really know be my personal favorite, but it might not be the ones that other people
Oh,
subscribe
I
to.
see.
So I, cause my favorite song is Blasphemy.
Mm-hmm.
off of Machiavelli. But I chose Changes. It's the most known song. It's the most relatable
Okay.
song, and it's one of the first few songs I chose to memorize when I was little. You know, first started listening to Tupac. One of the first songs I was listening to was Changes.
Mm-hmm.
So I chose that song, and if you want to look, it's on my profile still. Like, people were coming back and be like, "It's Tupac light language." I'd be like, "Wow, he really did come through." Because he said it. He was like, "You guys do that, I'm gonna come through."
Okay.
I said, "Okay." And it's still kind of hard for me to, like I said, it's still kind of hard for me to tell when they come through.
Mm-hmm.
They just come. I mean, I do, like, when I set the intention,
Yeah.
I'll get a rush up my spine. You know,
Okay.
the Kundalini
Yeah.
activation. That's what I'm gonna call it. That's what would happen. And then I'll just get the gnosis on how to do something,
Mm-hmm.
as if I
Okay.
am them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like what
Yeah.
Brother Panic would call self-deification. I'm gonna make a video on that sooner or later. It's gonna be on YouTube because it's something